Hello everyone, welcome to yet another edition of Neds AFL Unpopular Opinions. Round 8 done and dusted. Thank God it was a pretty ordinary weekend of football, let's be honest, but we are here. My name is Dylan Leach. I never played the game, I'm just a bit of a nuff, but I'm lucky enough to be joined by two people who actually have played the game and played it quite well. Tom Rockliff is here.
Dill, thanks for having me.
And, well, you're obliged to be here. And so is Alastair Lynch.
Hey, Dill. Yes, good like Rocky. Obliged to be here. So, no, very happy. Very good.
Monday morning, we just got home from...
But you're right, though. It was flat. Well, it was only the game finished half hour ago.
Yeah, basically.
But, yeah, it was... Who was the most disappointing team of the round for you? I mean, probably the game Thursday night didn't reach any great heights. Fremantle.
They were shocking.
I mean, don't want to take anything away from St Kilda, but as good as St Kilda were, Fremantle were just terrible. Not even going to say Port Adelaide, your mob.
They were horrific as well. They were terrible.
But there's been hints of that.
Port Adelaide's best is as good as anyone in the competition, and their worst is as bad as anyone in the competition.
And does that mean they're too reliant on too few? So if their best players get up and going, they're hard to stop. But if you can clamp those guys, there's not a lot of support.
No, I think Butters is the key to them, but he played pretty well on the weekend again. It's just, it would be frustrating to be a part of, for the players, for the coaches, to support them, because you see what they do against Hawthorn, who were airborne, and they wiped them out in the first half, and then they didn't even fire a shot, kicking with a 5-goal breeze, and they went into quarter time just up, and then didn't look like it.
But the handover will work, though. That'll work. What about the Blues?
Well, they were terrible as well.
They were shocking.
Shocking game of footy.
I mean, they had a great win, was it, last week against Geelong?
You can't take anything away from the Crows either, but gee whiz.
Well, the Crows almost needed that, though, didn't they?
They've got a horrific record, Carlton, at Adelaide Oval, though. I think they've only won one game.
And it's funny, people say, well, why does that matter? That was years ago or whatever. But it does. There's some venues or some teams or some individuals that just get you.
Is it psychological?
Oh, absolutely.
What venues did you struggle at? I'm not talking your Fitzroy days, but but was there a particular venue when you were playing in Brisbane, like when you travelled over to Subiaco, was it sort of like at the back of your head, we've travelled long? Or?
Probably conversely, when we were Fitzroy, when we were down towards the bottom, and West Coast were coming up winning flags, so in the early 90s, late 80s, we'd go to the Wacker and we'd win. We'd just clean them up.
Of course, that's right, Fitzroy famously beat West Coast when they were top of the ladder and Fitzroy was last.
That one was at Princes Park. Yep. But so the Wacker used to go well. But sometimes you have those venues. The other one that was disappointing, what's happened to the Giants?
Yeah, they've fallen off, haven't they?
Their midfield's just...
In saying that, Sydney's midfield was elite, particularly early in that game. Isaac Heaney and Warner, they were back to their absolute best. So they were super, the Swans, I thought, after starting well the week before and then dropped away. But, it was one of those weekends where there was heaps of performances.
And the Tigers, so nothing against the Tigers, they are where they are. Yeah. Probably, I thought, was the most disappointing one Gold Coast?
The game was. It didn't live up to any expectations, did it? I mean, they kicked 2 goals in the first quarter, I think. So Gold Coast kicked 1, Brisbane kicked 1 after the siren, after Bailey Humphrey give away that 50-minute penalty. And then there was no goals in the first 25 minutes of the last quarter, and then Gold Coast. In that
first half, you were calling the game for Triple M, and I was down there on the boundary. It was as intense first half as just with a bit of slippery conditions as well. But players were having half a second to get rid of the ball. It was just tackle after tackle after tackle. So, sometimes I don't know whether you've been out of the game long enough, and especially close up, you see the intensity and the way these guys hit. You say, shit, I would hate to be out there. Yeah. The pace was right up there.
It was good, but Gold Coast just didn't play. So they've averaged 112 points a game going into that game, and then they just didn't take it on. I know it was a bit wet, a bit slippery. You talk about venues. They've got a shocking record at the Gabba, the Gold Coast Suns, and it was like they were fearful to hit the corridor because they thought they'd get scored against or something. They needed to shift the footy, hit the corridor. Yeah. Brisbane were really good at taking away their strengths, but Gold Coast, a bit disappointing. We know they go to Darwin, they play good footy there, but they need to win those 2 games of footy.
Well, they do, and to take away their strength, they run the ball off halfback by hand, But as you said, Brisbane took away their strength so well. They were pushing up and not allowing that handball. So then it was the dump kick forward to a young forward line, which was hard for them to take a grab.
King was an interesting one as well. I know we don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but he just played back shoulder all day.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in the call as well. What I would have looked at doing late in the game, or at least in the second half, remember 2 years ago, Ben King was struggling with form, so they put him on a negating role to Harris Andrews. Yeah. So almost play on Harris Andrews a defensive role, stop Harris from intercepting. The fact that it wasn't working, and he was playing behind his opponent, in Jack Payne, who played a great game, I would have made the move. You go to Harris Andrews and just free things up for Jed Walter as well. Yeah. So make some changes. So that didn't happen. The thing Jared Healy on the call was really big on in a similar sort of situation was Rao being tagged by Dunkley. Why don't you put, and you know this much better than I, and Jared in the same sort of role as you over the years, Rao go to Neil. At least get a 2-on-1, change something up, but they didn't really change anything until they moved him to half forward.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You could see it in the call and no one looked after Matty Rowell either. So none of his teammates went and put a block on. So there was no Miller didn't go put a block on. Anderson didn't. They all just fought their one-on-one battles, and Brisbane belted them.
We made the same call. So there was no one going out of their way just to
put a bit of skin on.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as you say, Matty Rowell, he could have gone and stood on Lockie Neal. He could have gone and stood on Hugh McCluggage. He could have stood on one of the Ashcrofts. There was plenty of options to make a 2-on-1 just to free someone up. Right. Frustrating, but you have to sacrifice your game sometimes.
It'll be an interesting review, no doubt, from Damien Hardwick.
What do you reckon? Who do you have best on ground? Will Ashcroft? Well, Will and Levi.
Yeah. The Ashcrofts.
Pretty good.
It was pretty much the Ashcroft family celebration match. Them doing all their party tricks.
They had 20 each at half time.
Yeah.
Or thereabouts.
Essentially.
I was looking at it. I was like midway in the third quarter. I was like, they're going to give this to Will.
Yeah, well, I was one. I don't know whether
this is the Ashcroft Medal.
Declare the votes? Do they?
I think so.
They publish the votes, I suppose. So I was one of the voters. I gave 3 votes to Dunkley. I thought his role on Rao.
Matt Rao, yeah.
And as we were talking about, Rao was my most important player for the Suns, so they blocked him out, so I thought it was going to be hard for them to win the game.
Do you feel, though, whenever you give these best on-ground votes, they will just stand out by who they see more rather than the sort of second effort? So, for instance, you see Dunkley shutting down Rao, but everyone's seeing Will Ashcroft everywhere, because I've always heard these debates about things like Norm Smiths and other best on-grounds that people get caught up with.
I think I may have done it once, but you have to do what you value and what you see. That's the beauty of these medals.
And that's why you have 5 people.
Yeah, 5 different. So then you get the max. If you want just one person's opinion, then like if Lynch is just the voter, then that's what you're going to get. So I think it's a good way to do it.
Or if you want to get just the numbers off champion data.
Yeah, or just go stat sheet at the end.
Or you could just do the old Ross Glendinning and just give it to whoever you feel like, because it's your medal.
Well, I just felt, so how I try to do it, you sort of look at the numbers for support at the end, but you're sort of looking through the game. I thought, who had the biggest impact on the result?
Yeah.
And I thought for a majority of the game, the Dunkley on Rao, cutting him out, getting enough of the ball himself, I thought he made the biggest impact. I thought Will Ashcroft over the course of the game had an enormous game. I think 9 clearances, PB, contested possessions, PB. He was very, very good. And then I was tossing up between, was it Lockie Neal or Hugh McCluggage? And I ended up going with that impact on the game. I went for Lockie Neal with his 6 clearances in the third quarter, which broke the game open. So, I mean, it's not an exact science and it's personal opinion. So that's the way I went.
Well, the other one as well, you speak about differences in the game. If Charlie Cameron kicks those 2 snaps, he kicks 5, 6 goals.
Exactly.
He's probably the
and
difference.
I was about to say, it was genuinely pleasing to see Charlie Cameron get a bit of his mojo back, because he's been a bit quiet in recent weeks. So
it was nice of Joel Jeffrey to kick one to him for the first goal.
Well, he's kicked 8 points, hasn't he, the last 3 weeks, so he's well aware
he needed it.
No, so that was good. So, yes, so there was some disappointing games over the weekend.
There was one really good one.
Concerns for some teams.
There was one super game, which was the Collingwood-Geelong game on Saturday night. And can I just say from the outset, Collingwood needed to have a loss like that. I know we had Jack Crisp with Miracle Collingwood comeback story, which has just been the whole story in the whole Craig McRae era of Collingwood. Finally, the Pies have a heartbreaking loss in some way. I'm just saying, in terms of aesthetics, I'm sick of Collingwood winning these close games, and I'm also bored with Geelong also being successful.
I was going to say they're the two teams though.
Yeah,
they find a way.
They just find a way, and it was a terrific game of football, and it's just like this is the loss Collingwood needed, just for everyone else's sake.
No, great.
It was and it could have been amazing to have Jack Crisp. It could have been another miracle on grass, so to speak.
Did you play with Jack?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Myrtleford boy.
I mean, how good when he's been shipped off to Collingwood as a steak knives for what he's done over the last 10 years.
It's been incredible. So I think it's 11 years. I think it started
what was
in
it?
2014.
26 now.
The 2014 the streak started, and he's up to 240. It's incredible
Amazing.
to not miss.
And the way he's evolved as a player.
Yeah.
Like he's a high-class player.
Did he win the best and fairest or second in premiership year? He's up there. He's been a super player and got absolute the most out of himself. Change of environment.
Also loved Bailey Smith after the game with his little dig, saying you don't get that in Ballarat.
Yeah, he has
I loved everything about
most
that.
weeks, Bailey.
He says
It's great.
Yeah. Well, the follow-up from Bont was classy as well on Sunday morning as well. He sort of said,
Oh, did he?
What did Bont say?
He was on Sunrise the next morning. He said, it's nice that Bailey still thinks of us and there'd be less people.
Speaking of Ballarat.
There'd be less people at Ballarat to give the finger to.
But speaking of Ballarat, the ground is being redeveloped. It's a tiny ground as it is. They shouldn't be playing football there this year.
No, that's fair point.
They've got a contract for 2 games a year. They could have easily done a deal saying, right, we'll play 3 over the next to compensate for it. But AFL grounds should not hold less than 10,000 people. Like even all those little grounds that gather around will, your Norwoods and Barossa Valleys and whatnot, they'll allow 12,000 people. But when you're playing at grounds that hold 5,000, 6,000 people and it looks like a construction site on television, why are you bothering playing there? I know there's you could easily do something and have compensation games.
You played in a couple of grand finals that looked like construction sites, didn't you?
Yeah,
but the MCG still, that's right. Yeah, the MCG.
They probably still had 70-odd.
Yeah, they still had about 75,000.
You had to need the CFMEU official to go get the agate at the.
He would have been getting paid about $300 an hour for that too. Great gig, but I don't know why would you play there at the moment? It looked ridiculous, and I think. The Port Adelaide supporters going to get like 200 odd tickets, and
they played like there was only 200 of their supporters there. Looping right back around to your opening question, Freo for me were the most disappointing. They had earmarked everyone in the industry had said, they're going to finish top 4. I wasn't sold on them going into the season.
No, I think we can safely say that we didn't have them in.
And is he in trouble? I know he's gone on a full-time contract, but...
Well, with a full-time contract.
Doesn't that make it easier to sack you?
Yeah.
Their list, when you look at it from the outside, it has all the makings of a top 4 team. They've got the weapons in the front half of the ground. They've got an elite midfield, 2 ruckmen.
Well stocked down back.
Really solid defence. They've bought in, they've topped up on talent. They're paying Bolton the big bucks to come in and have that impact. They're not getting bang for buck.
No, but Shay's been a bit disappointing.
When you look at that, you talk about the different areas. They doubled down. It's been a talking point for a while. They doubled down on the ruck positions.
Yeah,
you're paying the best part of a couple of $1 million on 2 ruckmen. Doesn't work.
Well, the other thing with that as well is you've got those 2 guys there and they still have Draper rucking in periods for them.
Yeah.
Why is there anyone else taking the ruck besides Darcy or Jackson?
Well, and you could build a very valid case outside Gawn, who we'll probably should talk about at some stage as well. There's a lot of backup ruckman, Street, Meek, Cameron. So backup ruckman's the wrong term, but players that have been around for a while that are just starting to work their way into the team and playing bloody important roles. And then you've invested not once but twice on ruckman with big cash.
I think
massive.
It's just great
and
you're a big fan of people's ruck work, aren't you, Lynchy? You'd know when you're talking on television or radio about ruck work.
Oh, there's a bit of humour from Jill. Yeah. Oh, when I said focus on the ruck work and drop the F-bombs.
Slipped it out.
Slipped.
That happens. We're not perfect, are we?
No, I slaughter something every half an hour. But, no. So from the list build point of view, you got to trade one out, don't you?
Well, you almost have to.
For a first-round draft pick. Yeah. Just trade it out.
Well, who would you trade?
I'd keep Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd keep Jackson as well.
Yeah. So Thursday,
Darcy's a good serviceable ruckman, but he doesn't cover the ground. Like Jackson can go forward and impact the scoreboard, in my opinion.
Now, much to the chagrin of the viewing public, Fremantle have got another primetime game this Thursday night against Collingwood, so they'd better step up to the plate, particularly with Collingwood on the rebound after that loss. So Collingwood-Fremantle in Perth on Thursday night. Actually,
you'd like to think that'd be a good game.
You'd hope so.
You'd almost lean into Freo. So this year, more so than most, the short teams aren't getting up as well. So if you're coming off a 5 or 6 day break, you're not getting up as well. So we've seen Brisbane on that Easter Thursday not get up off a 5 day break. Collingwood played Saturday night. They got to back up Thursday. So Freo have the 6 day break. Collingwood 5 day break flying to Perth. You'd nearly lean into Freo even though they were as bad as they were.
It's interesting you say that because we've wanted Thursday night football as a regular fixture for our viewing pleasure. But I think the pitfall of it being a regular slot is you're going to get more ordinary games because of the turnaround in fixture. And we've seen that in recent weeks. And I know there was a bit of commentary about how the St Kilda Fremantle game was disappointing for a Friday night. Shit games of football doesn't discriminate on time slot. Just because it's on a certain time slot doesn't mean it's always going to be great. But I think the pitfall of having Thursday night every week means that it's just not going to be a sensational game, particularly in the middle stage of the year when you've got more teams coming off 5-6 day breaks.
But even when they're riding the fixture, surely they pigeonholed and go on Thursday night, Essendon North. It's not going to be a blockbuster.
Well, if it was 1990...
A couple of red flags might pop up.
St Kilda, Freo. And then you go ahead to this weekend, like Freo, Collingwood, yes, Collingwood.
Yeah.
But then St Kilda, Carlton. And we can say, maybe we thought Carlton were going to be better. Maybe we thought St Kilda were going to be better.
Actually, I'm really interested in that.
And also
interesting, but I don't think it'll be.
It's also worth noting St Kilda Carlton is the Spuds game this year as well. So there is that factor as well. But why wouldn't you put the Showdown on a Thursday, Friday? The Showdown deserves a national fixture. It's the best rivalry in the game.
Well, that's going to go on Saturday night. No free to air, so no one will see it. But it'll be an absolute
people on Fox will see it. People watching on Fox will see it.
Jump on
4K, no ads. So it's an interesting.
Anyway, no, I think if you think that is a result of Thursday night football, I'll be still going Thursday night football.
No, I'm still watching it. I'm just saying you just can't expect it to be. No, it's football, and I'll watch it. But I'm just like, you can't... I'm not shocked that it's producing some contests that are teams coming off short breaks and they're not playing to their optimum capacity that you might get at the start of the year.
No, I just reckon there's a gap starting to show up with some of the teams.
That too.
There's a bottom group that we probably didn't quite have last year. There was a couple down there.
Yeah.
The group of off-the-pace teams is starting to get a bit bigger.
Well, it's starting to get wider. I think, and you could nearly... I reckon the premiership's probably down to 5.
Yep.
5 that could win it, as we sit here round 8.
Right, give us the 5. So your 5.
Brisbane, Collingwood. I'm not sold on Hawthorn, but I think their best footy can still win it.
Yep.
I think the Dogs are a chance and the Cats. I think the Giants have really slipped away. I had them earmarked to be right up there. Last 2 or 3 weeks have been disappointing.
They've been really disappointing. I had in my top 4, I had the Swans and the Giants.
Yeah.
You might have to juggle the books there.
I'll do a bit of radio craft and a bit of a forward sell. We'll go through the Premiership futures market in the snapshot, which you and I are doing this week because Ryan is away.
Yes.
So we'll...
Ryan, public holiday here.
Yeah, Ryan doesn't do public holidays. Doesn't want the double time.
No.
Good on him.
I'd still have the Giants.
Giants
I'm
are probably 6.
I'm going to show some faith in them.
They're just having a slump.
Best. Well, 5 weeks ago, I'm thinking, how good do they look? And especially after they dismantled Collingwood in the opening round. But I'm keeping them in.
The Giants haven't worked out how their forward half operates yet. They've brought in Stringer, so Stringer comes on as a sub and goes bang, 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 kicks 3. If he's out there for the majority of the game, does it release Hogan a bit more? Because Hogan couldn't really have the impact that he wanted. So they're feels like they're maybe just feeling themselves out. And we've seen with Brisbane last year, they came from 15th. This time last year, they're in 15th position, going to win the flag. So you can't really discount anyone.
No,
but I think there's probably 5 or 6. Suns, I don't think, can win it. Crows, they'll probably play finals, but they can't win it. Everyone else you can write off, I think. Freo can't, Saints can't.
You spoke about home ground advantage or good luck grounds earlier on, Lynchy, but GWS head down to GMHBA Cardinia Park on Sunday, and they actually have a really good record against Geelong.
They've won the last couple of times.
They've won their past few times there. So that'll be a cracking game Sunday afternoon. So.
Was it a celebration game for Toby Green or something last year or a couple of years ago where he had
I think they've won their past 2 or 3 at Cardinia Park. So that might just be a win to just sort of put another shot in the arm. And
what do you reckon?
I think they're good value, actually.
Yeah, I couldn't see them getting up, personally.
Not the way they're going at the moment. Cats are good. Cats are playing good footy again, find a way. Dangerfield winding the clock back.
No, he's amazing.
Been an impact.
Amazing. All right. Time to get to our next segment. I'm excited for this. So we're going to do a countdown, David Letterman style. Top 10 up next, Neds Unpopular Opinions, AFL version. You are listening to Neds AFL Unpopular Opinions. Dylan Leach, Tom Rockliff, Alastair Lynch with you. It is time for our new segment, Countdown, Molly Meldrum style. And what are we doing a countdown for? The top 10, bit like David Letterman's old segment. Rocky, what's your top? What top 10 are we doing?
Top 10 players this week. So the
top 10 players.
Yeah,
right.
Mine and Lynchy's top 10 players in the comp, bit like the Herald Sun top 50.
So how are we badging this? Picking players off the wall. We're not trying to pick a team or anything like that. So it's just like
your best 10, the one that you
10.
probably like to go and watch, or that you think has the most impact. At one point, I had about 15 midfielders in there, so I thought I'd just get rid of a couple.
I was much the same actually. When you're thinking sort of.
They're the match winners. They should be paid the most. You're building a list. You know that you got to go after a real good midfielder.
But
first.
also,
but that's the difference though. If you're picking a team. If I'm picking a marquee player, we're probably going midfielders because that's why they're in the midfield, because you want them near the ball. But if you're building a team, you need some structure. So, like, Sam Taylor's not in my top 10.
He's in mine.
Well, but he absolutely should be thereabouts. So he's on my subs list.
So... Yeah, and also if you just want 50, if you want a celebration of the best midfielders in the league, I think it's called the Brownlow Medal. It's held on. Anyway, but
right, let's start.
We'll go Rock.
Yeah,
and then we'll go Lynch.
What, 10 or we'll go our
10?
10.
10.
We've got a 10.
Our 10 down.
Right.
You start at 10, and then we go to number 1.
And do we just hang shit on each other as we go?
I will go. What I'll do is for every single person you go, I will go Triple J Hollis 100 style, and I go, you're kidding me, should have been higher.
All right. Number 10 for me in the competition, I think, is Sarong
Caleb Sarong
over in the West.
Yeah, he's very
I think his influence on that mob is very, very good.
Don't mind it.
Lynchy?
Want my number 10?
Yeah, your number 10.
Or just keep hanging shit on that pick?
No, you're 10.
I'm going number 10. I'm going Jeremy Cameron.
Jezza. Very nice.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. I think he's still the best forward for me. If you're going to pick a team, I think you're picking him.
Yeah, and not in white hot form at the moment.
No,
but again, from looking at selecting a player, he's number 10 for me.
He's bloody good. All right,
I'm going to
9.
Number 9, a captain of an underperforming club for a number of years, but he puts him on his back every week, is Zach Merritt.
Hasn't he been sensational this year?
I think he's, for a number of years, his willingness to work through the contest and lead, now he's starting to hit the scoreboard as well. He comes in at number 9.
Well, I thought we were going to have the same then. You said a captain of an underperforming team. I've gone exactly the same in pick 9, but Toby Green.
Yep.
I love Toby too.
Number 9, Toby Green, change a game forward, can chuck him in the midfield as well.
And when Toby has a day.
And someone you want to go watch. Yeah. Merritt, nice, but Toby Green for me.
I like Toby.
He didn't sneak into mine, but it's probably he's just been a little bit quieter this year, so I've probably forgotten a little bit.
But when Toby has a day out, he has a day out.
Number 8 is mine, Jezza Cameron, so forward sneaks in there.
Yeah, rightio. My number 8, I've gone Zach Butters.
Yeah, I think his feature's a bit higher up mine. I think he's a star, Zach. I think he makes Port Adelaide better, and there's a bit of noise around potentially moving, but Port Adelaide's sake, they need to get his signature.
Hopefully the noise is moving to Tassie in a couple of years' time.
You want him to sign a couple of
Is
years?
that
Yeah, just go extend for 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, he could potentially be...
Captain.
He could be.
Yeah.
And your $2 million man.
Here we go.
There you go.
Well,
Rightio.
exclusive here. No, sorry.
Zach Butters,
Well,
a $2
actually,
million man.
Mind you, this whole top 10,
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind having a chat to at some stage.
My number 7, another captain of a high-performing team, though, Harris Andrews. I think his ability to intercept mark, set him up. We spoke about, I think, last week or the week before, about the most important player to each team. He's certainly that for Brisbane, and he comes in at number 7 for me.
Agree. My number 7, I've gone a captain, likewise, but I'm disappointed in myself that I haven't gone Harris Andrews. I've gone Patrick Cripps at number 7.
Two-time Brownlow medalist. Very dominant.
Reasonable
Yeah, pretty
player.
good player.
Pretty good player.
Carlton's pretty much screwed without him.
Number 6 for me, I'm going to our man Sam Taylor. Seen him again yesterday. He just competes and fights hard, and it makes me sick that I've got 2 defenders in there, but I do. So Sam Taylor at 6.
Sam Taylor at 6. Well, I'm gone probably a specialist role player as well at number 6. I'm gone a guy that's probably back to his best form and maybe going for All-Australian number 8, Max Gawn.
Yeah.
I've gone Max Gawn.
So, sorry, number 6, you have Max Gawn for his 8th All-Australian.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I was just getting the numbers. We're getting...
And again, put on a clinic. His month of footy,
He's been big, hasn't he?
Beast mode. Beast mode. For,
he's
Gawn.
flying. So, yeah, Gawn at 6.
Well, as you know, when he played Port Adelaide, we had a target on him and we used to go and belt him. So,
And no one's done it since.
no one's done it. Number 5, I have Butters. Just touched on him already, but I think he's important.
Well, I'll see your Butters and go Isaac Heaney.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one. He was the most
How'd he go
dominant
yesterday?
player in the first half of last year, and then his first quarter yesterday was scintillating.
He's their best midfielder and he's their best forward.
Actually, the best game he played was that qualifying final last year. That
They lost.
No.
No, the prelim.
Oh, right.
The
Prelim against Port Adelaide.
Yeah, he was phenomenal.
Paddy Cripps at number 4 for me.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Nah, not like that. I'll go your Paddy Cripps and I reckon I'll trump you with Lockie Neal.
Yeah, well, he
Lockman's
slides into
very
my number 3.
Yeah.
Lockie Neal at 3 for me. Yeah,
Can he
4.
fumble at some stage?
No.
His ability just to extract and set up teammates on the outside is exceptional.
He stays on his feet, doesn't fumble, gets hit, and his work rate's exceptional. But, yeah, a couple of very good picks. So your 3 was
Neal.
Well, my 3 is Dangerfield.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
winding the
Well,
clock
yeah.
up.
Well, he's fine wine, absolute vintage this year, isn't he?
Yeah, and it's probably having a better year than last year.
Oh, absolutely.
His impact in the forward half is
yeah.
exceptional.
I've only seen Geelong live once this year, which was the Adelaide game at Gather Round, and he was phenomenal that night.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal.
I couldn't leave him on the board. I'd have to pick him.
Yeah, well, I mean, his leadership, he does it all.
Yeah.
Number 2 for me.
Surely we're the same.
No, we're not. I've got Nick Dacos at number 2.
Number 2?
Yeah.
Number 2, Nick Dacos.
Who we got?
All right, Bontempelli too.
Okay.
Our
And
top
then
2
you've
are the
got-
same.
Yeah.
And then you've got one...
My favourite player, and he
You
has
love
been
the
for
Bont.
7 or 8 years.
Yeah, you've been a Bont fan for as long as I've known
He's
you.
Marcus Bontempelli, and again on the weekend, he didn't have a huge possession game, but you've seen his first half back after 8 weeks from a calf a couple of weeks ago, 2 and 20, and then on the weekend kicks 3, has mid-20s. He is a freak.
He is. Did you play on him?
No, he's too big and strong.
Well, that's the thing. He's a monster,
He
isn't
just
he?
moves
Beast
and
of a
then
man.
just gets outside, laces 60 metres. He's as good, I think, and he's probably not going to win a Brownlow. Not that that's a be-all, end-all. He's premiership player, captain. I think he's probably the Western Bulldogs' greatest player, which is a big call. But he's clearly number 1 for me.
Yeah, clearly number 1.
I think so. His ability, I know Dacos is exceptional, but I think they're different with what Bont can do.
Yeah. Well, that's where he can go.
He can go forward, he can go behind the footy, intercept mark, he can do it all.
Well, I reckon that's why I actually went Dacos, because someone can sit on him and he just takes him to a different position. So granted, not many people stopped Bontempelli, but I thought Dacos was number one for his ability to change games in numerous positions. And we saw when Brisbane, almost like, I reckon Craig McRae and Nick Dacos knew that Brisbane were going to do something at halftime, because they had to, because he was put on a clinic. So they started him half forward.
Yeah.
So just they can move him around. So yes, agree with your top two, but yeah, I had Dacos slightly ahead. So my top 10.
Yep. Just count 10 to 1.
10 to 1.
Yeah.
So Jeremy Cameron, Toby Green, Zach Butters, Cripps, Gawn, Heaney, Neal, Dangerfield, Bontempelli with Dacos at 1.
Yeah, my 10 to 1 is Sarong, Merritt, Jezza Cameron, Harris Andrews, Sam Taylor, Zach Butters, Paddy Cripps, Lockie Neal, Nick Dacos, and the Bont at number 1.
And could I get some honourable mentions?
Yeah.
Honourable mentions.
There's heaps.
Well, there's heaps. I'll give you mine.
Give me 3 honourable mentions.
I just had 6 jotted down. So Petrarca.
Yep.
So didn't make mine. I had Hogan.
Yep.
Merritt. I had Goulden.
Yeah, well, Goulden's one that we've probably forgotten because we haven't seen him this year.
Yeah, well, I had Goulden. Was very natural. I just dropped him out of the 10th position. For me, because we see him a lot, I got Josh Dunkley thereabouts in the conversation. Yep. And Stewart. Well, Tom Stewart.
Yeah, well, he's impressive as well.
Yeah.
At halfback. Yeah, I'd probably have a couple of players like Toby Green, Gawn. You could have Petrarca as well. There's enough.
Yeah, my group, actually, I'd add in Sam Taylor and Harris Andrews as well.
And those people can all expect a call from you, even Patrick Dangerfield, about coming to Tasmania when Patrick's 45 and still going strong.
Well, actually, by the time this goes to air, there'll be a couple of announcements, appointment of a list manager and a head of recruiting for the Tassie.
That's very exciting.
But not say it yet, but...
watch this space.
Out of Tasmania today, being Monday, there'll be a couple of announcements.
That's very exciting.
To get
Well
things
done,
started.
Lynchy.
Well done.
Yeah, so we'll... get those people in position so they can actually start
How's the
mapping
stadium
out how it's
Do you want me to
going.
build your list after my top 10?
Yeah.
Do we
Yeah.
get those 10 down in the Tassie for you?
Well, I'll tell you what you do. I do a project for next week.
Right.
So we say we're coming in 28. So I want you to give us our 3 marquee players.
On the board.
3.
3 players on
3
the board that
players.
you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So three players that we should be making the big offers to. And so obviously,
I reckon, mate,
and then don't toss up Dacos, Bontempelli, Dangerfield.
No,
the right age demographic,
There's
the right
two-
leadership qualities.
there's 2 that I've already got.
You've got 'em?
And I need just a third.
but also add what you will offer them as well. Let's put a bit more.
Well, there's going to have to be a $2 million
Yeah.
offer
Yep.
for one of them.
I reckon
Because there'll be a bit outside the cap, won't there? Like
You get a bit of love, won't
Giants
you?
and...
cashies.
No, well,
no.
not outside.
No.
You know, like how when the Giants came in, they had Israel you could pay outside, like as a marketing side, and Hunt on the Gold Coast.
You can be, I would imagine, and again, this is not my department, but having spent a bit of time in it, when you're building a list of, there's going to be a lot of 18-year-olds and a lot of 19-year-olds that are on fixed numbers. So if you recruit one of these top 10s, their deal is actually going to be front-ended as well.
Okay.
So
But
to
surely-
think there's a 2 in front of it, probably.
Surely you get allowances though, because the other clubs did. Like,
Yeah, no, there'll be
a marketing or whatever to
well,
promote it outside.
all clubs have their marketing agreements, but there'll be a salary cap extra above the salary cap. So you look at GWS when they first came in, they had salary cap plus 12%.
Yeah.
The Suns had salary cap plus 11%. So if you think in those type of
15. Plus 15.
yeah, well, you can make requests. But yeah, and you got to, with their current environment, to be able to get someone to actually make the move.
The worst thing that they can say if you ask for 15% is no. So ask for it.
All right, no worries, I'll take
Negotiate.
that.
That's what they do at Rockliff Finance, nonetheless.
Beautiful.
All right, time to wrap up. Time to wrap up here on Neds AFL Unpopular Opinions. We're coming into round 9. Round 9 already, and we're in the month of May. May, what an interesting month, actually. Rich, there's something about the month of May. Here it is. I've come across this. This is the Fitzroy Football Club 1993 calendar. And Mr. May is
You
one
look
Alastair
good.
Lynch in the sauna.
Oh my God. You know,
What is going on
Take
here?
it off and
Look at that.
compare the pair.
well, that
Look at that.
that's still there, but it's got a bit of coating on top. It's fair to say.
Look at this. This is the Fitzroy Football Club 1993 calendar, and you are Mr. May.
All right.
there is-
those things.
Look at
They-
some of the photos here.
They set up the photos. I have a look. Who's in the?
So we got Richard Osborne here,
Yeah.
down by
Aussie
the St Kilda
superstar.
Pier.
Yeah.
This is my personal favourite, Mr. February, Doc Wheeldon with a whole bunch of teddy bears.
The doctor. How good's the doc?
This is there's some cracking photos.
You would have been a heartthrob back
Yeah,
then.
well, look at that.
Take
What
my eyes
about
off
what
that
about this
bloke.
one? What about this one of Roosie? Roosie just was all business here.
Real executive.
Yeah.
Now he's just smashed him in the US as an executive
And
too.
now, what
so
about this one? Marcus Seacamp just on the bike
Yeah.
here. Oh, this is
the
good.
big Western Australian centre half back.
And it's also sponsored by what appears to be Greensboro Communications. Call Alastair Lynch
Call me.
on 467-8358, specialising in supply and installation of car phones, car alarms, CBs, cordless phones, and car stereos.
You've done it all, haven't you?
Look at that.
You've lived an amazing life.
Oh my God. You know when they get you to do a photo and they say just do this or whatever, and you think, oh yeah, no worries, I'll
That
do
won't
that.
come back to bite me.
Nah.
No.
What is it? What is it? It was 30 odd years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, no good. Nah, well.
I guess you had to for Fitzroy.
And the
Look
mullet.
look at the mullet, but just look at the look at the pondering. What do you remember the photo shoot for this?
Can I remember it? Actually, I can remember. I can't remember where it was, but I can remember it thinking along the lines of, what am I doing here?
Because the rest of them all have their shirts on, but you've got lids off.
Oh, well, you know, they asked.
That's what they want. You got to
Yeah,
give
that's
the
a good
people what they want.
Get off
Did
for
you
some
ever
of
do
us.
a calendar shot, Tom? You ever do anything like that?
No, I wouldn't have thought.
And that's brought to you by Galleria Shopping Plaza.
No.
I didn't have the rig to do it. Lynchy did.
Where the
Look
AFL
at it.
that.
I reckon the AFL had one that year we're in, and I got flown to Sydney, and Elle McPherson's photographer was taking
You and
the
Elle did a
photos.
shot?
Not quite, no. I got the photos taken from someone that knew Elle. That's about as close as I got. And where were we? Coogee Beach. Or Tamarama,
Right.
And I'm walking
Wow.
through the surf in jeans, ripped jeans. I remember that day. It was early morning, but people are looking at you going, he's walking through
What a tool.
the surf.
The boy
with,
from Tassie.
with jeans on. What
Your
a
mates
wanker.
back home wouldn't have been too happy with that. I wouldn't have thought.
So there you go. There's the thank you to
Yeah,
those who gave us the 1993 Fitzroy Football Club
Good
calendar.
on you. Didn't know about that one on the run sheet.
No, that was. Why would we tell you that?
Jimmy Wind.
Yeah.
Who's on the cover there?
Yeah, yeah.
that's
I'll give you the code. There you go.
Jimmy
it.
Wind. Matty Dundas. Matty Dundas. They reckon he won Tassotto, and he was a PT in London for a long time. Brett Stevens. So he was.
Hold it up to the people. Hold it up to the camera there.
Brett Stevens, Pete Sampras's conditioning coach on
Really?
the tennis
the tour.
tour. Yeah, so he did that. Worked with Malavai Washington as well. Richard Osman, obviously, was a superstar. Jason Baldwin, who was a bloody good player, played with us at Fitzroy and went to Richmond, I think, in '94. Had a massive heart attack there about 6 or 9 months ago, and was in a coma for 6 or 8 weeks, and looked shocking, must say. The upside is he's going really well now,
that's
which
great.
is very good. But had a massive heart attack at 52. But yes, we've all changed a little bit from those days, fair to say.
There you go, Mr. May, Alastair Lynch. It's your month.
There you
We
go.
might recreate that.
Yeah.
Actually, for next.
Oh,
that's a
you
good
down
idea, yeah.
To the sauna,
Yeah,
You can
do
compare
that.
the pair next week.
Look at that, you'd see
Yeah.
the guts just hanging up.
And also,
hanging over the towel.
also the camera
Oh.
qualities are better. We've got 4K cameras now, so we can really see the sweat in the picture now.
Bit of AI. We'll sort you
Yeah,
out.
get a bit of
Put
bit
a
of Photoshop.
soft filter
Soft
on it.
filter.
Fix you up. You'll be right.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. May. What are we looking forward to this weekend, fellas?
That photo disappearing.
You can't go past it. We see in the Q Clash on Sunday night, Saturday night.
Love
The showdown. It's as good game as you'll see. Port Adelaide's home game, so I'm sure they'll be there in numbers. Monday morning, I know Lynchy can't bet, but we work for Neds, obviously, 2:30 about Port Adelaide. Anything can happen in these games, so I wouldn't be discounting Port. Kenny might wind them up, potentially, well, definitely his last home game as a showdown, so I think they'll be wound up, but you can't go past it. The week is something special, so the people in Adelaide will be up and about for that. Crows obviously going very well, Port Adelaide not where they want to be. I think Saturday night, that's the one I'll be locking into.
I've said this on numerous occasions. It is without doubt the best sporting rivalry in Australia. 100%. Showdown.
It's the biggest celebrated rivalry, isn't it?
There's genuine hate still.
The fact that the Crows were established in a courtroom out of spite for Port Adelaide and that's a fact, speaks volumes where this rivalry comes from.
And what was the pub's name?
The Ramsgate.
The Ramsgate. I'm looking forward to, and I'll be at this game, the Suns Bulldogs. Genuine, very important game for both. As you mentioned earlier, the Suns just win up there. They've had some great wins up there. But the Dogs are in the calculations for the flag this year and are playing some great footy. That'll be a cracking
potential finals preview.
Genuine flip of the coin too.
Yeah,
it's $1.90 both teams. It's even match up because of the location of it as anyone on the weekend.
It's great that the people at Darwin get a cracking match of football. It's one of their couple of games for the year. Worth shouting out Friday night St Kilda Carlton, that Spuds game. That's always one of the more important fixtures of the year.
Important fixture for that very, very worthy cause, raising money and building infrastructure down there at Moorabbin for mental health support. But also, I think it's a genuinely very intriguing game. St Kilda, can they frank what they did last week? And Carlton have got to bounce back. This will be a cracking game.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that it's better than what was dished. I think hopefully it'll be much better than last Friday night. And I'm biased, but it's probably the only time this year this is the case. Richmond go in favourites on Sunday afternoon against West Coast at the MCG. So
that'll be a must-watch, won't it?
Can't beat. That's why it's got the prime time 1 o'clock Sunday slot.
Yeah, I might miss that one. I think I'm
Mother's Day. We'll take our mothers out for lunch.
Exactly.
Make it a long lunch. What time? About 4 o'clock. Yeah, we get home. 3:20 just for cats.
Mother's Day special, that one.
3 o'clock.
Happy birthday, happy Mother's Day, Mum. Let's watch 17th versus 16th. That's going to be magnificent. Boys, it's been a fun show. Great month. We'll get Lynchy in the sauna next week.
Yeah, rightio. Actually, I probably could go into the sauna for about a month, I reckon.
Yeah.
Turn it right up.
Go sit in there with the jockeys and get real trim.
Ordinary. Shocking.
There we go.
Rightio.
Boys, it's been a fun show. Snapshot is tomorrow, and we will catch you all next week.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website